equation. With the help of this equation, we can calculate what are the velocities of the two bodies after collisions. So how? Easy way. Okay. From this, my students, we can write here V2 is equal to U1 minus U2 plus V1. Okay. If we will substitute this equation in equation number first, this is the equation number first. If we are substituting the value of V2 in equation number first, what we will get? We will get the value of V1. What is V1? V1 is the velocity of first body having mass m1 after collision. Okay, when you will substitute this value, V2 value here, what we will get, the equation will be like this. V1 will be equal to m1 minus m2 divided by m1 plus m2 into u1 plus times 2 times m2 divided by m1 plus m2 into u2. Yeah, this is the equation for velocity of the body, first body after collision. V1 is equal to m1 minus m2 into u1 divided by m1 plus m2 plus 2 times m2 m1 plus m2 into u2. How you will get this equation? Simply, you have to substitute the value of V2 from here in equation first. You'll get V1. Similarly, my students, if you will substitute the value of V1 here, V1 will be equal to V2 minus U1 plus U2 in the same equation. What we will get? We will get the value of V2. Okay, V2 will be equal to M2 minus M1 divided by M1 plus M2 into U2 plus 2 times M1 divided by M1 plus M2 into U1. How you will remember it? It's just like this. This is V1, that is the velocity of the first body after collision, is equal to, start from 1. So it is M1 minus M2 divided by M1 plus M2 into 1. 1 plus 2 times M2 divided by same quantity into U2. So in this V2, what we will do? We will replace M1 by M2 and U1 by U2, and we will get the equation. You can get it directly when you will substitute the value of V1 from this equation in this equation. Okay, now you have to remember these two equations. These are the two equations. With the help of these two equations, we can calculate the velocities of the two bodies after collision. Okay. Now, the entrance part of these equations goes like this. Special cases. One special case is if masses are same, if M1 is equal to M2. If there is the collision between the two bodies of having same mass. Okay. So what will happen to V1 and V2? We'll get V1 and V2 from these two equations. Under this condition, V1 will be equal to, this will be equal to 0. So 2 times M2 divided by M1 plus M2. M1 is equal to M2, that is 2 times M2 into U2, which implies V1 is U2. And similarly, V2 can be equal to U1. Look towards this special equation. So here V1 is equal to U2 and V2 is equal to U1. What are U1 and U2? These are the velocities before collision of the two bodies. V1 and V2 are the velocities of the two bodies after collision. So look here, the two bodies interchange their velocities after collision. And this is the case if the masses of the two bodies are same. दूसरा वाला केस जरा डिस्कस कर लेते हैं. If second body whose mass we have taken as M2 is at rest. So what about U2? U2 will be equal to 0. Under those conditions, what will happen? Okay, Look here. So V1 will be equal to, so this is the case when we have to take U2 is equal to 0 because second body is at rest. So this is 0, this will be 0. So V1 will be equal to M1 minus M2 by M1 plus M2 into U2. Similarly, V2 will be equal to, since M2 is U2 is equal to 0, second body is at 0, so this will be equal to 2 times M1 divided by M1 plus M2 into U1. Yeah, these are the special cases. So we are discussing about the special case if the second body, which is having mass M2, is at rest. Under those conditions, the velocities will be this. V1 and V2 are the two velocities. So let's talk if the second body, which is at rest, is of lighter mass. Okay. अब इसका special case, second body, if M2 mass of the second body is very, very less than M1. So under this condition, what will do? We'll neglect the second body, mass of the second body. So V1 will be equal to, look here, M2 is here neglected. So it is M1 divided by, M2 is neglected by M1 into U2, which implies V1 is equal to U2. And V2 is equal to, V2 is equal to, so this is M1 is neglected here, M2 is, neglected here. So this is 2 times M1 divided by M1 into U1. So what will happen? V2 is equal to 2 times U1. Now look this special case. If the one body which is at rest is of lighter mass and the second body that strikes to it, is of heavier mass. So M2 is very, very less than M1. So here in this case, M2 can be neglected and this is the condition. V1 is equal to U2 and V2 is equal to 2 times U1. So what will happen in this case? After collision, when the two bodies will move, the second body will move with the velocity of the first body. Yeah. So V1 will be equal to U2. So second body will move with the velocity, first body will move with the velocity equal to U2, velocity of the second body. And the second body will move twice the velocity of the first body. Try to understand it. V1 is equal to U2 and V2 is equal to twice U1. Now if second body which is at rest is of heavier mass, so what will happen? If the second body which is at rest is of heavier mass, that means, so M2 is very, very greater than M1. Now M1 can be neglected. And from this equation what we will get? V1 is equal to, this is minus M2, M1 is neglected by M2, this M2 will go, so it is equal to minus U1. And V2 will be equal to, V2 is this, 2 times M1 divided by M1 plus M2. M2 is M2 is very, very greater than M1. M1 is neglected this time. So V2 will be equal to 0. So remember students, if this will happen, that means if we are going to throw a ball towards the wall, what will happen to ball? Nothing will happen to it. Its velocity will be 0, but ball will get rebounded. This is the clear indication from this equation. V1 is equal to minus U1 means the body will get rebounded back. Okay. So the third case is, here the third case will be, if M1 is equal to M2, what will happen to the V1 and V2 under these conditions? So if M1 is equal to M2, clearly from this equation, V1 will be equal to 0 and V2 will be equal to, M1 is equal to M2. This is twice M1 divided by twice M1. That will go, that is equal to u1. Yeah. If the masses are same, then what will happen? So, second body, the first body, after collision, first body, which is having mass m1, will come to rest. And the second body will move with the velocity of the first body. First body, yeah. This is the case if the two masses are same. So, we have talked about some of the special cases here. So, you have to remember, in collision, basically there are generally two types of the collisions: elastic type of collision, inelastic type of collision. In all the types of the collisions, the total linear momentum, total energy remains conserved, but one special type of the collision, which is known as elastic type of the collision, here instead of this, in addition to the linear momentum, in addition to total energy, the kinetic energy also remains conserved. So we have talked about the collision, that is the collision in one dimensions. So we have also talked about some of the equations. Hope you will try all these equations.